There are discoveries that merely disturb astronomy, discoveries that leave astronomers scratching their heads. And then there are discoveries that rip open the foundation beneath physics itself, the kind that make Nobel Prize winners suddenly cautious in interviews, the kind that cause cosmologists to shut their laptops, lean back, and whisper, "This shouldn't be possible," the kind that force even the most confident defenders of the Big Bang to freeze mid-sentence, because the data in front of them simply should not exist. And the James Webb Space Telescope has just delivered exactly that kind of discovery. Something so deeply contradictory, so violently incompatible with our current understanding of galaxy formation, cosmic evolution, and even the origin of matter itself, that scientists are now being forced, reluctantly, nervously, and in some cases publicly, to admit that something is fundamentally broken in how we understand the early universe. Webb looked farther than any instrument humanity has ever built. It peered past the cosmic dark ages into a time when the very first sparks of starlight were supposed to flicker into existence. But instead of faint, primitive baby galaxies slowly assembling from hydrogen clouds, Webb found monsters, hyperbright, perfectly organized, impossibly massive objects that should not exist for another billion years. Objects that do not behave like galaxies, do not form like galaxies, do not evolve like galaxies. Objects that may not be galaxies at all. As these images arrived one after another, each one shattering a different pillar of the cosmological model, a realization spread quietly through the scientific community like a shockwave. James Webb didn't just reveal new objects. It fractured physics. It began with a single object, a small yellow blur buried inside one of Webb's deep field images, barely noticeable among thousands of faint points of light. At first glance, there was nothing special about it, nothing that screamed anomaly, except for one detail that refused to be ignored. It was far too bright, not slightly unusual, bright in a way that violated every luminosity model we have for the early universe. At first, astronomers assumed it must be closer, a simple distance illusion, the kind of error that happens routinely in deep cosmology. But spectroscopy destroyed that explanation instantly. The redshift was enormous. The distance was real. And suddenly, scientists were staring at the most distant galaxy ever observed, existing when the universe was just 290 million years old. The problem was that it didn't look like a baby galaxy. It wasn't chaotic, small, or primitive. It appeared structured, massive, and fully assembled, a veteran in an era where only cosmic newborns should exist. That's when quiet panic began spreading behind the scenes. Because if even one fully formed galaxy existed that early, then everything we believe about early universe physics is wrong. Within days, Webb revealed it wasn't alone. This wasn't a fluke, not a one-off mistake. It was the first wave of an entire population of objects that defy every rule in our cosmic handbook. James Webb's deep fields were supposed to be windows into cosmic infancy, dim, quiet, scattered points of light marking the earliest steps of structure formation. But when Webb turned its infrared gaze toward the darkest corners of the cosmos, it didn't see infancy. It saw maturity, activity, complexity. Webb detected thousands of strange objects in these deep fields. And the more astronomers studied them, the more unsettling the conclusion became. These weren't early galaxies at all. They were too bright, too compact, too massive, too organized. They matched no known form of proto-galaxy predicted by standard cosmology. And the most disturbing part? They appear everywhere in the early universe. Not one anomaly, not two, but an entire population of cosmic structures that simply should not exist at that time. One recent study identified 87 potential galaxies forming between 200 and 400 million years after the Big Bang, a number so absurdly high that it directly contradicts lambda CDM, the backbone of modern cosmology. One of the study's authors admitted openly, even if only a few of these are real, we must rethink galaxy formation completely. This is the unbearable truth. Webb is not revealing a universe that grew slowly. It's revealing a universe that appears to have skipped its opening chapters. A universe that looks too old at the edges. A universe that matured far too fast. A universe behaving as if the Big Bang timeline is incomplete or simply wrong. As if massive early objects weren't unsettling enough. Webb uncovered something even more disturbing, something that violates basic physics itself. In every known galaxy today, only about 10% of gas ever becomes stars. That limit is so stable, so universal, that it's considered a cosmic rule. But Webb has now identified 3 early objects where all the gas has turned into stars. Every atom, every molecule, converted. This should be impossible. A galaxy cannot burn all its material instantly. It requires cooling, collapse, fragmentation, cycles of starburst and quenching. Yet Webb's objects behave as if they were assembled by an entirely different process, one that does not exist anywhere in modern astrophysics. These objects are not acting like galaxies. They are behaving like something else entirely, something we don't even have language for yet. Some scientists are now quietly suggesting that these may not be galaxies at all, but an unknown class of cosmic object that predates every model we've developed. And that possibility is more frightening than any anomaly so far, because it means we aren't missing details. We may be missing an entire chapter of cosmic history. For nearly a century, we've believed that distant galaxies recede because space itself is expanding. The farther away an object is, the faster it moves, some faster than the speed of light. According to relativity, such galaxies should be invisible. Their light should never reach us. But Webb sees them. It observes galaxies beyond the Hubble sphere, galaxies receding faster than light. Objects that should be hidden forever behind a cosmic horizon, yet their photons arrive. The standard explanation is that the Hubble sphere expands over time, bringing new galaxies into view. But Webb's deep field discoveries stretch that explanation to its breaking point. We are seeing objects that, according to our equations, should have permanently outrun their own light. If that's true, then something is fundamentally wrong with our understanding of cosmic expansion. Either relativity is incomplete, or the geometry of space is more complex than we imagined, or the early universe behaved in a way no existing theory predicts. Webb has exposed the greatest paradox in observational cosmology. We are observing things we should never be able to see. The observable universe spans roughly 92 billion light-years, but this isn't a true boundary. It's merely a limit of visibility. And Webb is showing us objects so mature at the edges of that observable bubble that their existence implies something terrifying. The universe must have been structured long before the cosmic microwave background was released. The Big Bang model claims the universe began in a hot, dense state 13.8 billion years ago. But if galaxies already appear too old, too massive, too evolved just 200 to 300 million years later, then the early universe wasn't a blank slate. It was already organized. Some Nobel Prize-winning physicists are now entertaining a radical idea. The universe may not have had a beginning at all. The Big Bang may not have been the start, but a transition, a phase change, a reconfiguration of something that already existed. Webb may not just be showing us early galaxies. It may be revealing fossilized remnants of a cosmic era that predates the Big Bang, a universe older than we can comprehend. And if that's true, then our entire cosmological history must be rewritten from scratch. The standard model depends on a singularity, a single moment where everything began. But Webb's discoveries shatter that timeline so violently that the singularity itself becomes questionable. If structures formed everywhere at once, if matter appears too early, if causality limits are violated, then the idea of a single birth point collapses. The only explanation left is deeply unsettling. If the universe is infinite today, it was always infinite. The Big Bang didn't happen in one place. It happened everywhere simultaneously across an already infinite cosmos. And if the universe always existed in some form, then what Webb is showing us are not early galaxies. They are remnants of processes that began long before the Big Bang became visible to us. This is not a tweak to the model. This is the death of the model. Webb's most disturbing revelation is simple. Scientists do not know what these objects are. They don't behave like galaxies. They aren't quasars. They don't match protostars, clusters, or nebulae. They are compact, hyperluminous, starred-in structures burning with impossible efficiency. Spectroscopy shows some have converted 100% of their gas into stars, something no galaxy in the known universe does. They follow no known formation rules. They fit no known timeline. They ignore physics as we currently define it. They may represent an entirely unknown category of cosmic structure from a period of history we didn't even know existed. And that means we're not just facing anomalies. We're facing a cosmic identity crisis. After decades of confidence in our models, James Webb has delivered a discovery so catastrophic that it forces a conclusion no one wanted to consider. The Big Bang model cannot explain the universe we observe. Not the timing, not the mass, not the brightness, not the star formation, not the distribution, not the expansion, not the structure. Nothing fits. If these objects are galaxies, then the Big Bang model is fundamentally broken. If they aren't galaxies, then we've discovered an entirely new class of cosmic object appearing at the supposed beginning of time. In both scenarios, physics loses. That's why scientists are panicking, quietly. Because when a telescope shows you something that should not exist, you have only two options: change the data or change the universe. And the data is not changing. James Webb has forced physics to fracture. And now, we have to rebuild. When you line up everything Webb has revealed, the impossible brightness, mass, distances, timelines, star formation rates, expansion paradoxes, and early structure, and place every contradiction side by side, a pattern emerges. And it isn't subtle. It doesn't whisper. It screams that the story we've told about the universe for nearly a century is broken. The galaxies Webb is showing us aren't early. They aren't forming. They aren't primitive. They are fully structured giants appearing when the universe should barely be learning to walk. Yet it's already sprinting, assembling stars at maximum efficiency, building compact objects faster than physics allows, and skipping hundreds of millions of years of evolution. And the worst part? These objects are not rare. They are everywhere, scattered across Webb's deep fields like cosmic landmines, each one detonating another piece of the Big Bang timeline. Even if only a few are real, the model collapses. But Webb shows dozens. Dozens that shouldn't exist. Dozens that break formation physics. Dozens that contradict causality itself. Now you understand why astrophysicists are panicking behind closed doors. The universe Webb reveals doesn't begin small and innocent. It begins awake, active, structured. The early universe looks too old, too mature, too organized. And that forces a terrifying question. What if the universe didn't begin the way we think it did? What if the Big Bang wasn't a beginning, but a transition? What if the observable universe is just the surface layer of something far older, deeper, and stranger than our equations were ever designed to handle? Because when galaxies appear too early, too bright, too massive, too evolved, the problem isn't the galaxies. The problem is the model. That's the realization James Webb has delivered with devastating precision. We weren't wrong about the objects. We were wrong about the universe. The timeline is wrong. The formation physics are wrong. The expansion assumptions are wrong. The edge of the observable universe isn't the beginning of anything. It's simply the limit of what light can show us. And beyond that boundary, the universe may stretch infinitely backward, not just outward. A universe with no true beginning, no singular point, no origin story. A universe that has always existed in some form. And Webb, with its golden eye staring into the darkness, may have just given us the first evidence of that eternal cosmos. If this video changed how you see the universe, don't leave quietly. Subscribe, because what's coming next will be even more brutal. Like this video so more people understand why physics is trembling. And tell me in the comments, do you think the universe had a beginning, or is Webb showing us something far older than the Big Bang?